all speak from our side.
So basically, my journey started with data science a year back. Due to COVID, I was planning to do something. So last year, same time in the March month, I decided to take a step on this one to make this program. Like as a general data scientist, but not like I was just researching, doing some to get this done. So at that time, I just got interacted with the students. From there, my journey started. So coming to the course completion part, so as you guys know that we never interacted with each other. So I guess only Chetan, only Chetan had interacted with me, and I guess Sindhu had maybe a couple of times. But apart from that, even Shubham has called me. But apart from that, everyone we have just now interacted. So coming to the coming to my interview process, so I started searching the jobs from January because you know that right has completed his programs in December. So December he has completed the activity. So actually I was out of job means from my old company in October. I was starting forcing these guys to get me the opportunities. So by that time I was not sure about how the things will be going on for the data scientist or something. So later to that I took a interview, means general casual mock interview was become ready. So that gave me some boost that okay, these many things are required. And apart from that, if you just see that we have some basic requirements for the program. Means in the sense, if you want to attend an interview, you want to make yourself in such a way that you are having some of the other experience. In the sense, like see, everyone will be having their own experience. I'm from sales supply chain management. So I was having that domain experience. So my motive was never leave that domain experience anywhere else, because that will carry a future requirement. In the sense, like see, you have worked on a couple of projects in your previous organizations, or you might have some other knowledge which is required for that. So that will hold good for your for our future interviews or something. So that's where my journey started. So I attended somewhere around 15 to 20 interviews. So out of that, I got 5 to 6 offers. So TCS was one of the better ones. So coming to the interview process, everything was stringent. So it's two technical rounds, one regular HR round or manager round. So this was the thing. So where I failed was with respect to some of the startups, because each startup they are requiring a lot of skills, not only a single thing. So you just take up a Python or something. So they are going to conduct an interview from the data structure. So they are not going to know pandas, so you do this one. So it is not that that will not be the thing over there. So startups, I had some issues with that interview because of their own stringent interview process. Apart from that, it was good. All the parts. If you want, okay, if you have any specific questions that you want to, yes.
Since you joined TCS, you technical rounds, what was the initial what kind of requirements they will looking for, and you will be able to give to them?
So basically, interview process was with respect to two technical concepts. So one is with respect to the complete Python. So for my requirement, it was with respect to the Python coding and as well as machine learning background. So I had cracked my Python interview, means there was some couple of questions with respect to the pandas and as well as the sequence interface. So I cracked that. So that was one thing, means with respect to one technical code. And the second one will come with respect to the machine learning and the deep learning interaction, what we know. So coming to that point, so you need to have a way like overview, means like consider that linear equation algorithm or something. So what's happened? Like what will happen on the so how are you going to consider the data? So that's what the requirement which is being highlighted. So if you are implementing a couple of projects, on what basis you have implemented the project? Means like have you how did you treat the data over there? How did you get the data? So this was a major requirement. Means the data part, the data part, what you are getting the things from the companies. So that's where we will be having some thing, because we are not we will be lagging with respect to the data part of it. That's where we need to build our own data. That's how interview process went. Like later to that, there was a manager completely on the business side. How did you manage your use organization? So that was the problem. Later to that, it was simple like that's how I got this. Apart from that,
did they give any particular scenarios like when you need data, like how do you
yes, definitely. Every project will have a different requirement. So we are not having stringent requirement. Okay, we have implemented a classification model for specific case. You are not having an idea about the regression. Means as an overview, you need to think in a business perspective that what might happen in that specific case. So that's where our that's the skill that we develop ourselves. And only we will be having means not with respect to overall team. That's how dynamically we will try to
they gave only Python or SQL was also added.
SQL will be required. Yes, SQL as of now the market requires SQL thing because they can't able to keep a separate SQL developer for any entities. So they require a data scientist to be having that. We will not be creating any tables for them. We will only be creating the data. So we need to extract the data from somewhere. So that will be stored in some SQL server. So for that we need this. So SQL is also an important tool. Developing that will be a thing. And even some analysts like Tableau, Matrix, or something. That will also have some major impact on our business. Because for taking a decision in a business scenario or something, they need to know what's happening with their data. So for to develop some insights on the data, we need some tools. Because Python, we can't able to keep on developing some of the other visualizations because we can't able to rely on it. So that's the reason we need to have some external tools which will help us to boost our data. Because see, Tableau, if you have a higher overview or something, the other tools will have will follow the same.
So yeah, so like we also asked you to do one with that facing a challenge for startup. What kind of challenges you so there are a lot of expectations that they have.
See, as we are not completely from computer science, so the initial rounds from like what I faced in a couple of they will start with the data structure. We don't know what is data structure because data structure will be a new thing for a data scientist because literally we will not be working on that, but we need to know that how the data is being stored in a server. Means if you take a string or something, so how that specific thing is stored in a server. So like whether it is stored in such order or in different order or something. So that has to be there for us. So but with respect to the startups, you can crack an intent with some complete project that you are maintaining. You will have that project which is been Consider that actually, we have many general problems. So, one of my projects, I did a project on news classification, whether it's fake news or real news. So that's a simple project. If you see, as if you just give that data point to the reporter, he will easily clarify that okay, this is a fake one, this is a new one. So how do you do that? How do you use machine learning over there to generate an insight from that? Instead of giving to a reporter to get classify that. So how can you do that? In that perspective, to have a solution. So basically, the companies who are hiring for a data scientist or something, they want to know that one. Means how the solution is like how the solution you are taking for a specific problem. Is it some freshers or something? So because they, if you guys are freshers, so we need to have our own personal projects because we will not have any old experience that we can explain over. So our projects and like our projects only will be deriving our that's how we need to structure our and even tools as well. We need to be specifically stringent on our tools. On which tools you are working, that you need to see.
Apart from machine learning, the end-to-end project, what are the Python and logos supporting all these required?
So, considering the data pipeline from beginning to till the end, so Python will be the core language. Even if you want to deploy the model, we have Flask and Django, which is on a framework from Python. You can use that one and deploy it. But to work until then, you need to be strong with your data. Because consider a simple case that you are predicting the price of a bike. So what are the features that you are going to do? So the team will they will not see what's happening on the on your product, whether you are using this specific model or something. How are you approaching that problem? Okay, so if you take a bike price prediction or something, what are the main key points that you are considering? Consider that you are checking an engine, so how the engine is performing. So that understanding has to be there for a complete version. So without that one, definitely no one can solve it because that's what the requirement for everyone.
There are so many
Hard programming, as of now, in my interviews, no one has a programming. But if you have our background, means what's happening, because it's a statistical model, it will help in some visualizations that can help. If you can develop that.
So you developed this news classification, right? So you deployed it on. So have you faced this problem that you're asking that you have the knowledge of AWS?
Yes, definitely. See, I deployed with Heroku.
Same.
Yeah, I deployed with Heroku. One simple answer for that. Because I can't able to deploy on AWS, Azure or GCP or something. So, because it costs me a lot. See, if you want to deploy a model and if you want to build a new website over there, it will cost me monthly somewhere around $20 to $30, which I am not able to do that. For my personal projects, I use Heroku because they are going to give me that. But if you are given an option, interviews will, my question will be, if you are given an option to deploy this in a AWS or an Azure, how are you going to do that? So in that specific case, we need to know in which path we are going to take. See, in Azure, like in AWS, we have EC2 instance. So basically, what will happen? How we are using the Jupyter notebook in our Python interface. Similarly, we have an interface in the AWS interface. So you need to develop your model over there, and you need to save your model over there. And how are you going to save the data? Whether it is on S3 buckets or not. Means you need to have that idea, means what's happening in your flow. That flow you need to understand. NLP, yes, I have. So in the NLP, basically the major requirement would be on so what you're going to now chatbots are not so much in but yes, chatbots are also in but I'm not very chatbot. How did you classify your data? Means how did you vectorize your data? So that specific case will take my NLP project where I had somewhere around 50,000 data points. So we need to vectorize that complete corpus into a different columns. So for that, how did you do that? How did you manage to do that? So if you are going to go on a machine learning, it will be on word-to-word or real time. But the same case, if you want to do it on deep learning, what's your approach? So for that, we need to take it up in a different, like word embedding filter, and then we need to put the sequential mark for that. So that structuring has to be there. See, no one will ask you that what's that specific is why I have used that, but you will have a brief overview that what will be happening on it. That's where our
Like we have to justify why we have used this.
and you can justify that. But if you are given a chance, what is the additional method that we can do? That also you can have that implemented. Okay, I have implemented on machine learning. So if I given an additional chance, I would have implemented on deep learning with this approach. But that approach you really have ready in your mind that okay, this was my plan and this I'm planning for.
This one last question. So like deployment you're talking about it. So everybody has to know about this deployment part or any difference?
See, if you go on a higher overview, in the sense the companies which are having a lot of implementers, they don't require a person who is having a deployment experience. But if you are going for a mid-level or a startup company, they require end-to-end expertise. If you are starting with the data part, then you need to end with the result. So for that, you need to have that skills. But what we are doing in our system. So the similar activities will be happening on our deployment. But you need to code that in such a way that to get an output. It's nothing but a web development. So DevOps team will be there for that. If you want to do that on yourself, you need to prepare that. Good.
It's okay.
So, any other questions? See, we can just build on the things because what we have learned here will be a smaller one because there is a vast requirement in the data center. Using today, we are using the microchip and tomorrow that might be a different also because each and every day the requirement changes in the market. So based on that requirement, one of the requirements. So today tablet is running on a favorite of tomorrow the different tool might be over. But we need to be on our end. Yes.
My name is Dhruv. Is it audible?
Yeah, Dhruv.
Yeah. So
Yeah, audible.
you just stated that you joined Flipkart 2 years back as a data analyst, and now you are a senior data analyst. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Currently, you are a senior data analyst.
Yes.
So, like, is it totally different? Like, what being a data science as a data analyst, is there any differentiation between them? Like in terms of the job role, in terms of the processes?
See, basically, if you come into data analytics, like in the analytics field, there will be multiple job roles. Irrespective of work, there will be multiple job roles like data analyst, business analyst, data consultant, data scientist, data engineer. So these are the different kind of roles, but your work is similar. So there will be additional some kind of work with data scientist will be doing, wherein data engineer will be doing some 20% off would be there, like from data scientist to data analyst to data engineer to other people. So analytics is basically analyzing the data and giving an insight, basic your understanding and insight from the data, you will be giving the solution to the company. To understand business properly and take action based on your analysis. So that's how it's going to work. So data analysis is the initial stage wherein you have to analyze all the data, whatever you get from any source or by doing the research. you'll be collecting them and cleaning up entirely, working on the AG process, and you have to create a structural way that everyone can understand the data. So that is how a data analyst works. But if if you being a data scientist, you have to do the data analyst work as well as you have to build a model around it and provide a right optimal solution or the rightful model to the company, which can be implemented in higher level and people will be able to take action based on the model. I hope it is clear. Right?
Yeah.
So one thing you have to keep in mind that irrespective of job role or domain, you have to work whatever you do. So business analyst, people will think that business analyst is more of a non-technical role. But business analyst is the right job. What I understood in the current industry, you would be dealing with business, with data analyst or data scientist might be facing some issues because. From my understanding, business analyst is the rightful job for a aspirant who is starting to get into analytics because you'll be learning a lot about business rather than coding and technicality. So once you learn business properly, then you can be able to take actions, any actions, irrespective of your domain, irrespective of your previous knowledge, previous skill set, you'll be able to take decisions and drive them fluidly or smoothly. So that's why I would suggest rather go for a business analyst or a data analyst because that will give you enough exposure to data and you will be able to understand most of the things from a core point of view. Because day on day we'll be working on data as well. Data scientist is something, it's a word only, it's a designational role only. But the work will be pretty much similar and one major thing is you will be held responsible once you get into the leadership forum or once you project your project you're working to the leadership or stakeholders. So that's how it works in the company. Am I clear?
Yes.
So, what are the projects you have done? Main concern for the industry related projects.
Okay.
As a fresh
So who is this?
Akshita.
Didn't get your name.
Yeah, my name is Akshita.
I think I've interacted with you earlier.
Yeah, we had a mock
Yeah.
probability and science.
Okay, got it. So projects are it depends on which industry you're really interested in. Let's say someone will say I'm interested in digital industry, some will say I am interested in IT sector or I'm interested in some business related things. It's not only e-commerce but some government projects or something. So it depends depends on your goal which you are setting it for future. So basis that you have to set your mind and you have to get it done. So I did two projects. One is a financial analyst or fraud analytics using some bank data like transaction data and so have to build a model wherein you have to the model will predict whether the business case was you have to detect whether the person who is eligible to take a loan whether he's going to fall under the fraud category or whether he's going to do a fraud transaction or he will be legitimate. So that was the first project. Then the second project which I did was around beer manufacturing company KB India, wherein we are doing a lot of research to gather the data points and to understand the business entirely. Because as I told you, it's a domain independent thing. So you have to do a research initially once you get a project. So we started doing research how the beer starts and beer used to get manufactured and what are the process getting involved in it. Starting from collection of grains, barley and all. So we have to analyze what is the size of the grains that we should consider and what are the first process. So you have to soak the grains for some time, like at least 3 hours to 4 hours, and you have to dry it in the sun for at least 2 days. So those are the parameters we need to figure out initially, and we did all the research and understand the entire process, like what are the steps, like how many stages the grains are being considered, and until the malt is formed. Once the malt is formed, then you have to put that in a broiler and get that heated up and separate it using a filter funnel, and all the processes are included. So initially it took me around 1.5 months to do the research, and once I thought of starting working on the project entirely, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, I was selected in Flipkart and I joined. Left with my meeting.
Generally, I was asking how did your journey started into this particular domain? Were you from a similar background when you started this career, or how it was?
Not exactly. So I did lot of struggle in my career. I started looking for technical jobs like Java, .NET stuff. I was like mostly interested in developer. Though unfortunately I had a lot of family constraints and other financial constraints, so I didn't able to make it out. And I started doing work in Infosys. That too semi-technical job, and like I was put into different shift timings, so it was like pathetic for me to cope up with the situation and attain those night shifts, and it was very difficult for me. So I thought of letting it out and get myself out of the comfort zone and started preparing myself into a domain where there's a few opportunities or big. Like I take a bet on my career and I started doing data science course, and I thought it will definitely grow in future, or else there will be a unique job for me. So then I will just some few companies like using the same analytics or something. So at that time it was like let's give it a try because I'm not that good in developer role and I might not able to crack the interview. So that's what I thought and tried it. So I'm not from a technical background clearly, but yeah, I basically is a electrical engineer and very less exposure to coding. But yeah, I learned it from Geeklurn, self-practice, and investing a lot of time, exploring things, exploring about what is the core company, what is the company looking for a candidate for the company point of view, both the way I have to see and depending on that.
Thank you.
Yes. So one thing I can suggest, because I have seen a lot of candidates who are taking courses with me, and one. Okay. So yeah, I was discussing about the domain specific. So it doesn't matter whether you belong to a non-technical domain or a purely art background. So it depends on how you quickly learn the things and execute them in the real-time way. So companies are not looking for a candidate who is technical, from a computer science background, or who is from a tech-savvy candidate. So rather, they'll be looking for a candidate who is who understands the data well and who can execute the plans accordingly, and project everything on a right time and give an optimal solution. That's it. And I have heard about a story of an employee. You heard about Joho, right? Joho Education is providing online classes for candidates. So there is a security guard in the company who is under metric and he hasn't completed his 10th plan. So he got placed as a software developer post completion of projects in the company. He used to do a night shift and he used to sit with the employees and understand the coding. He doesn't have a prior coding knowledge, nothing. So that's how the companies are treating, like startups mostly are treating to the employees, and because of that Joe got some kind of award. I'm not sure, but yeah. Okay, any further questions? Let me know this.
Hi Jay.
There is an echo in the background.
Oh, hi Jay Prakash. So Jay Prakash, can you just go around like how many interviews you attended before what was your experience? Basically, what industry expects from the students? What is the difficulty level?
Kind of.
How many number of rounds should be there? Can you explain in brief in 5 or 10 minutes?
No, I was expecting the same thing, like same question to be asked by the candidate. So I was waiting for the call, but nobody even asked the same question. So So first thing is, I thought like initially once I completed my course, I thought like I'm ready, pretty much ready, and I can attend all the interviews and crack it at least in a 3 or 4 interviews. But it took me somewhere around 27 to 50, not remember the exact number, but yeah, mostly 25 plus. So basically, the processes of Roundup interviews, it varies a lot from company to company. So there will be startups, as a fresher, they will be considering the basic interview rounds like aptitude reasoning, followed by some technical questions related to data science, machine learning, algorithms, deep learning, AI, and English. If you crack that first round, then there will be followed by that, there will be some GD rounds, kind of debate or jam, just a minute kind of interview session. Then post that you would be kind of round table interview wherein 4 or 5 members will be sitting and you will be asked questions from different members from the interview panel. So that varies depending on companies, that varies. Startup companies used to follow the same process, and like freshers will be going through the basic round of interviews. Experienced will be going through mostly by kind of project you have done and kind of work you have been doing in the past company. So questions will be related to your experience. And if you are from a different domain and if you want to start your career in analytics, then definitely they will ask you basic questions on the skill sets that you have mentioned. So not the basics, but they would expect you to crack the advanced questions. Followed by that, your work will be on basics. So question or interview level will be pretty much strict or pretty much difficult or professional level, but work would not be that much. Because I feel that personally, I saw like interview would be very difficult and I prepared in every possible way. And while I entered into the organization, the technicalities were very less, but yeah, you have to prepare yourself from every point of view. So, discussing on the skill set, you need to have basic skills of SQL, Excel, because whenever you will be getting a data, it will be a CSV file, right? Or a JSON file, or some kind of file format. It could be Excel, it could be CSV, it could be JSON, or it could be any file format. So, once you get the data, text file also, once you get the data, you have to clean it up entirely. So basis that in order to read that data, you need to at least have a kind of tabular tool called Excel or Minitab or Power BI, any kind of tool, just to read the data properly. You need to see how you can read the data. That can be done using R or Python as well. But yeah, basic initial analysis should be done in Excel, or it is easy to manipulate and easy to writing without any codes. You can manipulate everything. So that is the first tool. Second tool is your SQL. So you have to learn every coding of SQL, like how you can retrieve the data from the data. So as a data analyst, before joining as a data scientist, you have to join as a data analyst. How you can manipulate the table and get the data for your requirements. Let's say there is a customer table, there is a sales table, right? And you got a query like, I want to see the sales of a customer belonging to so and so John, and what is their transaction per day, or what is the transaction in a month, and how frequent they are buying. And basis that you have to write a query to fetch the data, right? So your problem statement is customer from this zone, let's say East zone, and is it belonging to a metro, non-metro, is it belonging to a tier 1 city? So basis that you have to see, and number of transactions, like how many orders he has placed in the last 1 month, and what is the revenue that has been generated out of it, and how many units he has purchased, and what is the payment method he has taken to use to pay the money. So this kind of retrieve, data you have to retrieve out of the database. So to understand that thing, you have to know SQL properly. So there are 2 tables, you have to join the 2 tables to get the proper data. So that's why before entering into data analyst or data scientist role, you have to be a data analyst. So that is the basic thing. So that suffices your two of the tools. Now the third tool will be your R or Python, wherein you'll be cleaning up the entire database which you're getting, right? So that I think Geeklurn is providing with enough support. I don't think you'll be missing that out. And apart from that, fourth tool would be your visualization tool called Tableau, Power BI, CSV or Excel, any of the visualization tools. Just need to understand how I can visualize my data which I got from database. So that can be done in Excel, but visualization tool would be great because you have to just it would be pretty much easy to form a chart in no time. At least it will take 2-3 minutes where you need to write a lot of code in hours and to create the same visualization. It might take you hours or more than 1 day to create a visualization, like critical visualization, wherein you can do the same thing in Tableau or Power BI within no time. So these are the basic skill sets needed. Apart from that, like if you're applying for a startup company, then definitely they're going to look at your skills on big data. How you handle, how you can use Hadoop or Azure or cloud computing along with the data analytics. So that is why Geeklurn has provided a good enough course, to understand the company standards and how you can get yourself prepared for the industry, no matter whether you're applying for an MNC or whether you're applying for a startup. So you will be industry ready while you complete the course. So that's why the course has been designed as per the suggestions of different trainers, different employees from different industries. So keeping an eye on the candidate's future career, they have designed this course. Initially, like you were fortunate enough that you got so many add-on courses. At my time, there was only machine learning. There was no deep learning at all. And SQL and Excel, I have to prepare by myself. So I think we were fortunate enough to get a lot of add-on courses.
Prakash, you attended Flipkart interview, right? So what is the process of the interview process in Flipkart? How many rounds you have faced? Basically, what do they expect from a candidate? Then apart from that, before Flipkart, you attended New Sigma, even one of the very good startup for data science and AI. So,
okay, I'll tell about 3 companies interview round. So I have attended a final analytics wherein I was I cleared all the rounds, but in the final interview I got disqualified because of some reasons. Like I was not keeping well, and I thought of giving answers, but I was not able to answer the right thing. My mind was distracted, and I lost it completely. So a final analytics, it was like basic, first round was written test along with aptitude reasoning and programming languages, and mostly it was on R or Python, and it was most of the theories from machine learning, like the decision tree, regression, and mostly theories of like related to formulas, how you can calculate the R-square value using the data points that has been given. So that's how the round of interview was, the question was. So mostly it was a numerical from data science theories. First is your regression, I remember decision tree and random forest, logistic regression equations. Yes, mostly theories about formula based on machine learning. So that was the first round that I have cleared. Then second round was a GD round. Similar like GD round, you have to debate around the topic which is currently trending. Third round is my round table, where the 5 interview panels are asking a lot of questions from your current project, what you have done in the state or what you have done in the past company. So that's how it was in a final analytics. So the final round was a round table, and I was unable to answer 6 or 7 questions. That's why I got disqualified. I didn't able to crack that interview. Before that, I've applied for Mu Sigma, and it was a similar process altogether. Like almost I remember there were 4 rounds instead. First was your written. Second was your GD. Third was your kind of counseling session from the leadership. Like they would be giving you so they'll be giving you an overview of the company. Like this is so and so about the company, and company will provide you. So there is a facility in the company. Once you join as a decision scientist, in Mu Sigma there is a role called decision scientist instead of data scientist. So once you join the decision scientist role, they will be paying you 5 lakhs in advance as the advance salary. And post that they will be paying you salary month on month, like would be your 12 or 6 or 7 LPA per annum, lakhs per annum. So that will be decided as per the company. Once your CTC is decided, they will be paying you salary. Along with that, within 6 months, they will pay you 5 lakhs as a bonus amount, wherein that will be accommodated. I think in the next 3 months. So there is a bond in Mu Sigma wherein you have to sign a bond with the company for at least 2 years. Will be also with Sigma. And if you break the bond, then you have to pay the entire 5 lakh amount which you have taken from the company initially joining the bonus. So yep, for that counseling round, I got disqualified in the sales personal interview. Because questions a lot of questions are from projects. At the time I was working on the product analysis project, but not in the computer. But due to my financial constraint, I thought of giving interviews and I wanted a lot of interviews, but I wasn't able to practice. But while I attended Flipkart, I think I have completed almost one and I was continuing on the second. Yes. So coming to Flipkart, there are like 3 rounds of interview. First would be your data handling round, wherein they will be asking you questions related to SQL, Excel. They will be asking you basic questions how you can create a database of entire. Let's say they will be throwing you a problem statement that I want to create a online booking system. It could be restaurant booking system, kind of Zomato. It could be a movie setting system like movie, Book My Show, or it could be railway ticket booking system like IS. So they will be asking you to design an entire database using your SQL knowledge. So that is the data handling round. And they will be throwing multiple questions like around the same, whatever you have built, like the database which you have created, they will be asking you those questions. Why this database? Why the schema is suitable for the database which I was talking about? Why not the other way? And how many tables we should consider, factory we should consider in the database, and what are data would be there in the factory. So you have to explain each and everything to the interview. So that is all about data handling round. Coming to the next round, it would be a ASPS round, analytic solving and problem solutioning. So in that round, you'll be thrown a lot of business cases. So you'll be asking you, like this is a use case and we have to find a solution for it. And what and all data points you should look into it. So basically, I'll share an experience. Recently, I took an interview in Flipkart because my manager was not, didn't have a proper time and he was busy in some other work. So I attended I took an interview of the candidate and I asked a basic question. People are expecting a lot of things that interview will be very tough, but it was hovering around the basic things. So the question was, given a table as a data scientist or a data analyst or let's say whatever position it is. So given a table, I have employee and employee ID. So what insight would you derive out of this? And as a data scientist, what would be your solution to the company? Employee ID and salary. Those are 2 columns in a table. So this is a forum we can discuss all about the questions, right? At least 1 or 2. So you have all your suggestions, like you can give it up and give your answer. Maybe I can help you to guide you to somewhere get the right answer, but yeah, let's give it a try. So there is a table There are two columns. One is employee ID and salary. So there are two columns called employee ID and salary, right? So as a data scientist, what would be your solution to the company? Like giving an optimal solution to the company to understand how the data is behaving. So people will be expecting a lot of data, right? That table should have at least 10 or 15 columns with valuable data. But this is the basic thing. Employee ID and salary. What would be your approach to arrive at a solution?
Depending upon the salary, you can decide the employee what is it for. I didn't get you the question.
Anyone? Yeah, see, question is pretty much simple. You have a table. Just try to analyze and give a solution to me. You have a table wherein table has two columns, employee ID and salary.
Yeah, that is what. Employee ID can be independent and what do you call it? Salary can be dependent. So that depending upon the employee ID, we can predict the salary, or depending upon the salary, we can predict what is the employee ID and what is he doing. What is he?
Okay.
Which wing he is into.
Got it. Anyone else?
Jay Prakash, we can find out the average salary of the person, and whoever is getting lower or the higher, so we can target those guys. Like either we need to upskill those persons who are getting less salary, or we can point out those who are getting high salary. We can reduce the salary, or else how can I say? We can check why they are getting more salaries. So we can work on the package, like we can reduce the packaging, those kinds.
It can be used for.
Anyone else?
It can be used for appraisals. Let's say employee ID is very old and the salary what he's getting is really low. So we can check, when this person has joined and why he's not getting appraisal. So that this data can be used in the form of appraisals also.
Anyone to suggest any answer? So everyone is done, right? Okay. Who is the second person who was talking about the answer, average salary and minimum maximum?
Chetan here.
Chetan, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, most of the thing, like you got some 20-30% correct. So before diving into machine learning, see, as I told you, it's a word only which is buzzing around the world. So it's purely about basic statistics. So when you have been thrown a data set with two columns only, you have to think about in a statistical way. So company is asking for solutions, right? So it is asking for a analysis first. Solution means you will be arriving at a solution once you do the analysis on an initial data that has been given. So first thing is you have to look into the basic statistics, things like core business model decision, and you have to analyze what is the average salary of the company. As I have given you employee ID and salary, right? So employee ID is of a company. So you have to analyze that what is the basic or average salary of the company, what is the median of the median salary of the company, minimum and maximum of the company. So when I think second person Chetan, you said like you will be removing why those employees are being paid highly. So that could be AD, director level employee, or that could be some other. So your solution won't be approved by any of the stakeholders, because those persons are the real stakeholder to the company, and if you remove them, then that is not going to work, right? So you have to hover around the statistical analysis. So initially you have to think why, identify the outliers. Why these guys are paying highly paid, or why these are the employees which are more than some, let's say 30 lakhs per annum. So you have to exclude those outliers and think in a proper way, because those outliers could affect your mean and median, right? So once you find out the difference between mean and median, you will be able to figure out whether there is an outlier in the data or not. So once your mean and median is closer to each other, then you can feel that yeah, my data is normally distributed. So I can go for a analysis post that, right? So once you find out that data is normally distributed, then you can apply it and say that yeah, this is the average value of the company, and maybe we can remove those outliers, or we can take necessary actions like at least try to provide a suitable salary to the low grade employees, those who are being paid very less, so that our outliers should be managed accordingly. So outliers could be negative outliers or positive outliers. Could be the small scale base salary, or could be the large scale base salary, right? So you have to explore the large scale base salary because you cannot do anything with them because they are a high level of authority. They could be either CEO, or they could be either anyone, board member or director or managing director, anyone, right? So you should exclude the higher level of authority, and you should target to the lower outliers and try to adjust between them. So your solution should be hovering around the statistical analysis, not around the data scientist role. So that is where like people used to fail most of the time, because when you heard about this heard about this word, data. So high level salaries, you cannot do anything with the high level salaries because those are the higher authorities. That could be board members, that could be stakeholders, that could be your director level employees. So you cannot do anything with the board members, right? So you have to exclude those as an outlier, and you can do the adjustment with the low level employees which were paid very less, and you can adjust between them and try to normalize the data as much as possible. So that is how you can approach to the problem statement. So it's nothing about the data scientist role, or nothing to worry about applying machine learning or predicting anything. So first thing is you have to analyze everything on a statistical way. So this is the mistake which every candidate used to do in interview. When they hear about this machine learning, data scientist or any data engineer word, so they will be thinking in different perspectives. But always keep in mind that you have to think first you have to think as a data analyst, think as a statistical analyst way, so that you can approach to the problem statement pretty easily and try to figure out or analyze the data initially. Then you can think of it later, like whether to apply a model or an algorithm on it, or whether to give it a statistical solution. The company will be throwing a lot of questions to you, but you have to keep your basics very strong. So I think Chetan has given the right answer to somewhat to some extent. But you cannot arrive at a solution like you have to cost cut the high level authority, you have to upskill the low level employee. You cannot comment on that. That depends on the authority, because you cannot take action from the high level authority, right? So your analysis was right. You have to do statistical analysis first. Look into the data, find out the average, mean, median, and give it a report to the company that on an average you are paying this much to the employee. Minimum salary of the company is this much, and there are these many employees in the company, out of which these many employees, let's say X 100 employees are there in the company, out of which 15 are getting low, means less or minimum salary, and 10 out of them are getting higher salary, and let's say rest of them are getting average salary or below or above average salary. So that would be your understanding and analysis of the data, and you can project the same report to the company. So basis that, leadership will take actions whether to remove the highly paid employees, or whether to upskill the low level employees, or whether, because this will help them to hire new candidates, or cost cut the older one and provide a hike to the employees who are being less paid. Got it, right? Hello?
Jaiprakash, even we are very happy to tell that one of our student, Mr. Shashikaran, recently he got placed in TCS. Like you, research. He attended Affine Analytics interview and many ITC, entity data, I think many interviews he attended. Finally, he could make in TCS. Today, that's what we facilitated him. So we are very happy to introduce Mr. Shashikiran. Shashikiran, can you just show your face so that you can? Yeah. So he's Mr. Shashikiran. Yeah.
Hey Sashi, congrats first of all, congrats. Placed in a reputable company.
Can help him, any opportunities if got better for betterment of career and all. If you have any reference, you can refer our students, whether it is fresher or Shashikiran, so that will be very helpful for them.
Yeah, sure.
Fine. Thank
So
you,
there'll be a lot
Jay.
of, but one suggestion to the candidates that whatever you're investing, money investment is a kind of thing that you might be spending it for your daily expenses like food, clothes or something. So that I understand financially poor, but that would be a constant for them. Yeah, money doesn't matter. So investing time is what I feel is most important right now. So once you invest all your time in the course and understanding the entire thing, like learning everything properly, but give you right frame in the future to crack any interview. So it could be your opportunity. It can be your first interview wherein you can get into a job. So it could be. But if you don't prepare well, investing time that too not in a regular way, you'll be investing 1 hour today and tomorrow you'll be saying let's keep it let's park it for some time and we can start it tomorrow. I can invest 2 hours tomorrow. But tomorrow again you'll be thinking today I don't have enough time, so let's invest 1 hour. So you'll be missing those 1 hour last day, like yesterday's 1 hour, and you'll not be able to compensate that in the upcoming days. So my suggestion would be, if you're investing at least 1 hour a day, so keep it tight and try to invest at least 1 hour a day positively. Learn everything properly, get some doubts, Google it, visit a lot of websites wherein you're getting any resource or reference. Try to understand in every possible way, and still if you have any doubts and if you didn't get it clarified from Google, note it down somewhere, ask the trainer, or let me know if I can help you in some way, right? So this is the time where you have to focus, because post your completion, no one will ask you, right? Even trainer will be busy with other candidates and you would not be finding any right time to interact with you. On your weekends, you have to park your questions for entire week and you have to ask them on the weekends, right? So because that kind of problem I have faced in the past, it's not the institute's problem, but it's the problem of your own problem. Because when I was there, I was also neglecting the time and I was unable to prepare myself well. That's how I faced. So my suggestion would be, invest your time properly, learn everything properly, and ask the questions in the forum where you've been provided the opportunity. Get your doubts clear within the given time, else it would be a huge doubt in the next 6 months. You won't be able to get those things clarified, and post that once you start attending interviews, you will be missing your chances by a margin of 10% or 20% or at least 5%. So that will hurt a lot, because I personally feel I miss the New Sigma and the Finance to